What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Take a Peek. Today we're gonna take a peek at FTL Faster Than Light, a game made in 2012 by Subset Games. This is a strategy simulation game, and it's also a roguelike game. That is to say, you go as far as you possibly can, and if you die, you have to start over from the beginning. Now there are 9 ships in the game, but I'm going to be showing off just the basic one everyone starts with when you start the game. The Kestrel Cruiser. My favorite is the Crystal Cruiser. So, for the Kestrel Cruiser, any ship. You have Type A and Type B, 2 different layouts, with your different weapons, the people that are in it, if you have drones, and different augmentations. So, for example, if we look at the NG Cruiser, completely different layout, different power allocations, has an ion blast, a drone, and the NG Medbot dispersal, as well as engineers. There's 2 difficulties, easy and normal. Normal is the hardest difficulty this game has, although after you've played the game for some while and have learned how to play the game well, it actually isn't hard enough. Still, it's a good challenge. So, the data you carry is vital to remaining the Federation fleet. You need supplies for the journey, so make sure to explore each sector before moving on to the next, but get to the exit before the pursuing rebel fleet can catch up. And then it also comes with a tip. Every single time the tip is different. And the game is pausable. It does make it a little bit easier. However, there are some people who like to play the game with no pause runs, and that does make things a little bit more difficult. Perfect. This is actually the perfect start. So there are 4 types of beacons. We have a standard beacon, which is an unvisited location, a store beacon, which means there's a merchant there, we can buy stuff, use a scrap, which is money, denoted up here, that we get from battles. To buy stuff. Up here we can also sell stuff to the store, such as weapons and drones. A distress beacon, someone crying out for help, and nebula beacons, which are basically you travel the same speed through them, but the rebel fleet have a harder time pursuing you through them. So it's a really good idea to take the nebulas if you want to get through the more beacons in one sector. What's your location? So it's a civilian ship saying that they're off course and they want to get to where they're going. So let's go ahead and lead them to their destination. So now we have a new quest marker. Oh, great. It's right here. Perfect. It's completely procedurally generated. I did not make this map. Thanks to you. I don't think we could have made it. Let my friends patch up your hole. Show you your wares. Okay, cool. So we just got essentially a free store. 2 jumps into the game when we don't need it. We have 20 scrap, so we have things we can buy at a store. Fuel, missiles, and drone parts. All of which are very necessary depending on what you're doing. Fuel is always necessary. I'm not going to worry too much about buying stuff. I'm only going to show you guys the first sector. And I'm not going to obviously show you guys the whole game in just one Take a Peek episode. That's not going to happen. Okay, so this is an event inside of a nebula. We have a boarding crew on us. So shots are fired, and they are in oxygen. Alright. This is basic combat in FTL for hand-to-hand combat anyways. So when you're inside a nebula, while these guys are duking it out, not too concerned about it. Go ahead and turn that on. When you're inside a nebula, your sensors are disabled. So you cannot see your entire ship when you're inside a nebula. If you notice beforehand, we could see the ship. Now we can't. Okay, so you notice it just flashed in the bottom right that we don't have enough power. That's because the power was in the med bay, not in the oxygen. But now we're okay. Let's go to the next nebula and see what we find there. Ah, wonderful. Okay. So there's a rebel automated ship protecting a space station that's owned by the rebels. So we can avoid provoking it, just ignore it, or we can attack it and see what's in the station. You can see the ship right here, what subsystems it has, shields, shield level, its health, and what it is, as well as what weapons it has. So let's go ahead and attack it. It seems like easy pickings, and it comes with a drone. So we're going to want to auto fire and immediately shoot at their weapon system. If their weapons are down, they can't do anything. Oh, that beam drone. Oh my goodness, that beam drone. Ah! Beams never miss. They only stop for shields. That's it. Beam drone's tearing us apart right away. There we go. Okay. So their weapons are down, but so are our shields. They've been hit by the ion blast, which has temporarily weakened our shields. We have fire in our sensor room. Go ahead and put that out. Go ahead and fire a missile. Noted here. So we won. It was a little painful, but we won. 14 scrap. Nothing useful in the station. That's unfortunate. But if we take a moment to deal with this. Shields are on fire too. That's not good. Oh boy. Okay. Put out the fire. Put out the fire. Oh goodness. Put out the fire. Oh, we took some hull damage. Okay. Fires will deal hull damage. Very important to remember that. So let's heal everyone up first. Go and repair the ship and then move on. This is a good time to explain how the crew really functions inside of the ship. So you notice I had them scattered about the ship. I had a person in here, the cockpit, in the weapons room, and in the engine room. You are nothing of importance yet, so you could be either one. Alright, so you actually have experience in weapons. You get back to the weapons room, you get back to the engine room. You must always have a pilot in order to fly your ship. And when people are in the different positions across the ship, they actually... These guys automatically attacked us. Oh, our shields are down. Okay. They make it run more efficient. So by having a person in weapons, we actually charge our weapons more quickly. As well as having a person in engines increases our evade chance. Notice we're at 20%. If I were to take them off, we're at 15%. 5% may not seem like much, but it will make the difference. So we got 9 scrap, surrounding area, nothing important. We have a map now, so we can see which areas have danger, which areas are special. So this one is close to a nearby sun, which is very bad. It will create fires on the ships that are there. So you want to avoid those. There's also asteroid fields. Okay, black market, so we can sell missiles for scrap. I'm using missiles. The Artemis uses missiles, so we're going to hold on to it. And we're going to attack this unvisited location where there's a rebel ship. Okay. Same routine, take out the weapons. If they can't shoot back, they can't hurt us. Oh, but the missile missed. So did their... Actually, they didn't even get to fire off their bomb. That works out well for us. Weapons are down. Beam weapons have to hit shields, break the shields before they can hit the ship. As well as laser weapons. There we go. So this guy's trying to escape with FTL. They're a faster than light drive, which you can see up here. When this gets up to full, you can jump away from the battle and retreat. they were trying to do. So that was a very nice bounty. Fuel, missiles, and scrap. So now we can go to a store and spend some of our scrap, maybe. Crew teleporter is awesome. We could fix up the ship, but I'm not going to be going too much further, so I'm not worried about it. This is not going to be continued. The Burst Laser Mark III is insanely powerful. It takes 4 power to charge, so I can only offer 3 in the weapon system, even if I wanted to. Even if I wanted to, I could not have the Burst Laser Mark III. But it'll fire 5 shots. Our current one, the Mark II, fires 3. It's a great upgrade. It's 5 damage. But we can't afford it. The Hermes is also awesome because it's a really super powerful missile that has a chance to breach, create a hull breach in the ship, which deprives it of oxygen, as well as fire chance to create a fire in the ship. So again, we're not going to buy anything. We're not going to sell anything. We're going to call it good. And we're going to go to the ship. So inside the ship, you can actually upgrade your reactors, your subsystems, and your systems. You can look at your crew, and you can see what equipment you have and change it around. So I'm actually going to upgrade shields twice. We're going to accept that. And in the middle of battle, I can do this. Now, 2-level shields right off the bat. That's going to be hard to stop. Go ahead and jump back over here. We don't want to cross the red line. The red line is very bad. It's very dangerous. Okay, so they're rocking 2 different lasers. Looks like a dual laser and a burst laser Mark I. Yep, Mark I dual laser. So we just took a shot to our weapon system, but that's no big deal. We already unpowered our Artemis. So we're sitting fine. Okay, so these guys are trying to bribe us. This is like, I could not have asked for a better run. So, to not destroy them, they'll give us 2 fuel, 3 missiles, 7 scrap. At the very first one, that's actually not a bad deal. So I'll go ahead and take that deal. That is a rock pirate ship. So let's go jump back to the store. Kind of a waste of fuel. You don't want to have to jump back and forth between stuff. But I'm just going to try and maximize the time that I'm going to be here away from the rebels. Okay, so rebels are harassing some civilians. So let's aid the civilians. Get over there. What do you got? Okay, so the ion took out 1, and the lasers hit. Unfortunate. Now, the only thing I'm not showing here is the drones, which will show up right here, and then they'll be floating around the enemy ship over here, doing damage. I think that's it. Oh, yes, there's also a couple other things in the game hidden around, as well as the final boss, which a lot of people say is immensely difficult. I'll admit, it took me a while to beat the final boss the first time, but when you figure out how to play the game and you really get used to it, beating the final boss actually just becomes a trifle. So, also doors, I forgot to talk about this. So you can open all the doors, suck the engine out, goes out into space. So we saved the civilian ship, and they stayed. So we get an extra bonus from them. Alright, one more jump, and we should be safe to reach the exit and the end of this video. One more rebel scout, and they're immediately charging up their FTL. So we have to stop them. Otherwise, if they get away, it'll become problematic. So you notice the ship is red. That's because I opened the doors and let a huge amount of oxygen out. We're down to 67%. Now 69, 70. It doesn't matter who you are. If there is no oxygen, your crew will die. They will suffocate fairly quickly. In fact, a common and powerful tactic is to upgrade the doors to level 2 right off the bat, and then just leave these forever open. Leave the airlocks open. Then when invaders show up, you can just boom right away, and these are already draining. Don't even have to wait for the airlocks. Or you can just leave the entire middle of the ship in an airlock if you want and trap the invaders basically in space. So we stopped them from alerting the rebel fleet. If they had alerted the rebel fleet, that would have been very bad. So we need some extra power for the reactor. 2 more. To up our engines, turn on our Artemis. Ooh, that's cutting it really close. We might actually see what happens when you go across. Yes, when you go across the red line. Oh, goodness. Okay, so we must survive long enough to jump to the next sector. Very dangerous. So, we have to wait for our FTL drive to charge. Once it's fully charged, we can jump to the next sector. Let's go ahead and close all doors. We may need to move around a little bit. So we've made some progress. Oh, hit the shields. Not a fan, sir. Your weapons are really taking hits, though. Oh, weapons. Okay, Artemis missile up. Now, I'm actually going to try and fight this rebel ship, which is way stronger than what I should be fighting. Nice! Take out those weapons. And shields are go. Shields up. Artemis up. I forgot to fire my burst laser. Crap, crap, crap! Oh! Okay, it hit a blank spot, no problem. We can only take 5 more damage. Nice, turned off their missiles. The enemy ships can and will run out of missiles against you. You can outlast them if they have only missiles. Oh, this could be it. Rebel ship's dead. But that doesn't do us any good. We get 1 fuel and we have to leave. There's no time to loot. One last thing when you jump to the next sector. Also, if you run out of fuel, there will be a distress beacon down here like we saw earlier on with the distress beacon. The distress beacon here will let you wait for help, or the rebels, whichever reach you first. So, next sector, and this is the map of what the game looks like when you jump from sector to sector. So I can go to the civilian sector on the top, or the Mantis-controlled sector on the bottom. So civilians green, Mantis are red, Mantis are pirates, they're kind of like praying mantis. These are nebulas, these purples are nebulas. They are, sometimes they're uncharted, sometimes they belong to the slugs. The greens can also be Zoltan. They can, the reds can also be rock. There are just so many, there's so much replayability in this game. Say we go from Mantis to Zoltan to Uncharted to Civilian to Pirate to Zoltan to Final Battle, for example. Or you could take a completely different path up here, or you could start up and then just cut down and decide that you want to go from right here all the way down to here. Or from down here up to here. I mean, it's the path changes every single time, and the maps change every single time. The backgrounds are beautiful. We have 11 fuel. That's more than enough to make it through. And so you can see now we're in Sector 2, and the enemies are even more difficult than before. So that's basically what this game is in a nutshell. Okay, here we go. So we have an invader. So I'm going to turn 1 off for engines, and you're going to go fight the invader, hand-to-hand combat, in the medbay. So with the medbay turned on, Shirai is healing while fighting the Mantis. So he will slowly but surely win. Mantis is dead. The Mantis ship is dead. Contact the civilian they were harassing. The crew did not survive, so we stripped the ship of whatever is useful. And we move on. So that is, in a nutshell, what FTL is. The game is by no means easy. It's a very, very difficult game, and normally I would not have this low of hull, but I was, you know, screwing around. So we cannot fix all. But we can get up to 27 out of 30, which is pretty good. So the verdict on this game, guys, if I go back to the main menu, FTL is just a remarkable game. I don't know if it's won any awards or not, but I would not be surprised if it did. It was developed by the independent developer Subset Games, sorry. And honestly, I think it's worth everything to play this game. If you enjoy roguelike games, pick up FTL. I had never played a roguelike game before FTL, and it completely introduced me to a whole new genre that I love. Rogue Legacy is a part of that genre. So, just because it's a fabulous game, it's a beautiful work of art, and they release occasionally the Advanced Edition, I believe, for FTL is coming out. It's a free expansion pack for FTL to make the game even more complicated, more difficult, and more fun. The difficulty factor, maybe yes, maybe no, but it kind of depends based on what the game rolls for you. It's random number generator to a degree. But the game is not based on luck. It is actually based on skill. Just like any rogue type game. So pick it up, it's awesome, and it's fairly cheap on Green Man Gaming, Good Old Games, and on Steam, of course. So choose your provider, pick it up from where you want. Also Game Fan Shop, of course. They sell some games there too. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. This was Take a Peek at FTL, one of my all-time favorite games, especially one of my top 5 favorite games since 2010. So as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next Take a Peek.